Welcome back to the Lords of Lore podcast. I'm Matt.
I'm Luca.
I'm Will.
We are the Lords of Lore, the podcast for all things fantasy and sci-fi nerddom. It's been a while since the three of us have been able to do a show together, so that's fun. Yeah, let's just get straight into it. Luca, what do you got for us this week?
I heard some very exciting news for anybody that's played Fallout. I don't know if you guys have played Fallout, but Fallout New Vegas 2 is in early talks. Have you played Fallout?
Oh yeah, Fallout 3 is definitely like in my top 10. I didn't really play that much of Vegas, to be honest.
New Vegas is my favorite, hands down, like the best one. I mean, I only played 3 of them. I'll play New Vegas 3 and 4. But
Yeah.
New Vegas is the best. And I heard that they were like, since Microsoft bought Bethesda, there's a lot of people in Microsoft that were like thinking it'd be a good idea. And it's in early talks to be developed by the same studio that made the first New Vegas, Obsidian. And that game was like my favorite game of the PlayStation 3 generation. Ooh, actually Skyrim came out back then too. So it was tied for number 1 with Skyrim.
That's still high praise.
I mean, like it is basically the same like layout. Like it feels the same as Skyrim. It's the same developer. Matt, you've never played any Fallouts, right?
I've never played any Fallout games. No.
Well, it plays like mechanically just like Skyrim, and the graphics are the same.
Yeah, just with guns. That's pretty much it.
And you can freeze time. Like I love that mechanic.
Yeah, I loved Fallout 3, but like I'll be honest, I didn't get Vegas until a couple of years ago, and then because like I just never got around to playing it, and then I remember like I booted it up and it was like it's very dated. Like I thought my eyes were gonna start bleeding just looking at it. But
the graphics are a little bit dated, but they made the game like in less than a year.
Yeah,
like they hopped in like super late into development to finish it.
Yeah, I heard like the writing for it is just like fantastic though. Like just for like a lot of what Obsidian does.
Yeah, like the speech in it, like that's why I hated Fallout 4, because I played it after New Vegas, and it takes away your like, it gives you like just like the 4 different prompts, like aggressive or passive or whatever, instead of telling you the whole sentence your character will say and like what the chance of success is and all that, like Vegas had. And that's another thing I hate about modern games, is taking features away.
Mm-hmm.
See, I don't know. I think there needs to be a balance, and this is just speaking in general, because like, so for example, like I got like the new Smash Bros for like the Switch, so I'm like, sweet, this will be fun. And like, if in any future, if I ever actually have people over and stuff, it'd be like fun to play, right? And then like I turn it on and there's only like 5 characters involved, so I'm like, what the fuck? Like, and then like you have to do like a grind thing. So like
Have you never played Super Smash Bros before?
Not since like 64.
Yeah. Well, it's the same then.
Yeah,
There were legit 5 characters. You got like, you couldn't even get Luigi until you had every other character, and then it was like, I can't remember how you got him, but it was super hard.
Yeah, I don't know. So like my ex-roommates, we played a lot of Smash 64, like hundreds of hours maybe. But yeah, I've never had to like actually unlock it, and like I kind of understand why there are some like streamlined stuff, because yeah, I don't know, basically like every once in a while I just turn on and just like rip through it, and like I don't know, like sometimes like especially with like older games, I guess what I'm trying to say is like the grind can be a bit much. So I don't like mind it, but I do think like core RPG stuff like the speech checks, what Luca was talking about in Fallout, I think that's pretty good, because then like you have more control over your player. But,
and like random, I don't know if you guys have played
I don't know, that was a rant.
Far Cry.
Like, I've only played Far Cry Primal.
Okay, yeah, Far Cry Primal is a perfect example. Like that's literally a copy pasted map from Far Cry 4.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like all they did was change the textures to make it prehistoric. The map is literally the exact same.
No way.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And then if you look at Far Cry 2, there's like you could shoot people through like wooden barriers and like thin metals. Whereas in Far Cry 4 and 5, you can't anymore. Like flames burned down entire trees in Far Cry 2, not in Far Cry 3 and 4. It's like they're taking away these like, I don't know, immersion sort
Yeah.
of features.
To make it just faster, I guess.
Yeah, probably like makes the game work faster and like give it a higher frame rate, but
No, I mean
at
just
what
like
cost?
progression, I guess. Like makes it just like easier for people to pick up and play. But
Yeah, that's where my head sort of had. Like, if you make the game like there's like a smaller barrier for entry, so anyone can pick up the new Far Cry game and be like, this plays like every other shooter game. Whereas for people who are like longtime fans of it, it's like it's been so scaled back from what it once was, like how
Mhm.
immersive it once felt, that it's like it's not even the same. It's so generic now.
exactly. It's just like there's no, but those details don't like, they're not like a barrier to entry. You know, like a bullet going through thin metal is just like a
Hmm.
in-game physics thing.
yeah, but climbing those fucking towers, man. Those are the worst.
Every game since Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, that's one thing. I don't know if this pertains to this conversation, but I feel like we saw it with Assassin's Creed, where like the whole gaming industry adopted that format, right? And now we're seeing it with Breath of the Wild. Like you look at things like the new Sonic game that's coming out, that literally it's like so blatantly we were inspired by Breath of the Wild. Look at Pokemon Legends Arceus, Breath of the Wild clone, Genshin Impact, Breath of the Wild clone. Like so many games are now doing that sort of scaled back open world feel, and aesthetically haven't changed anything. Like it still very much looks like Breath of the Wild, where I'm like, it's like so blatant, guys. But like Pokemon wants their Breath of the Wild, Sonic wants their Breath of the Wild. Like I don't know. For me, like it leaves a sort of bad taste in my mouth because it's like so blatantly obvious. And like, why would I play, Sonic Breath of, like I'm still going to, so I'm part of the problem. But like, you know what I mean? Like, but like I play something like Shadow of Mordor, and it's like, man, this is just Assassin's Creed in fucking Middle Earth, which is cool, but it's not very like groundbreaking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mhm.
See,
I mean, it's
like,
interesting you mentioned that game because it had like a groundbreaking feature with the Nemesis system.
That's actually true. Yeah.
yeah. See, like I like Breath of the Wild, and one of the big things I like about it is that it always looks good. Like no matter like what kind of like TV quality and stuff like that. But like to me, it kind of seems like a lot of people are like copying it because it allows them to like cut corners with like some graphics and stuff. Because I've played the new Pokemon game, it's fun, but it is very like it's it I guess it pales in comparison to Breath of the Wild in terms of like gameplay and function and stuff.
Yeah. I just think it's like the annoying part of being in such like a oversaturated market, where it's like, oh, what's working right now? Okay, like let's make our version of that. Like you
Call
see
of
it like
Duty.
with, yeah. Where like even those types of games became unpopular for a brief moment in time, and then it's like, it sort of rises and falls. But I don't know. I'm like, do I want to play every game? Do I want to play Breath of the Wild in every setting possible? Like, is that necessary? You know, I don't know.
I
But
mean, I actually haven't even played Breath of the Wild, so
yeah, that's fair too. So like you might even be someone who plays the Pokemon game first, say, and be like, wow, how groundbreaking. But it's so I guess like in that case, like there are people out there where that's their, they haven't played the original thing. I guess sort of like if you hadn't played like Metroid or like Castlevania, and then you play like a platformer game and you're like, oh, this is super fun, but it's like, yeah, that was a clone of this game or that game type of thing.
but sometimes that works, just like how New Vegas and Skyrim are like essentially
Yeah.
skin changes of each other. Both great games, and New Vegas 2 will be phenomenal.
Yeah.
I call it now, even if it comes out in like 5 years.
Yeah, we'll cut back to this clip on the podcast. You predicting it. I hope it's really bad.
We'll be like pushing like 50 by the time it comes out. If it's being made by Bethesda.
Yeah.
Stop.
My grandkids are gonna be playing Elder Scrolls 6.
No, man, your grandkids will be playing Skyrim on the PS7.
Yeah.
yeah. I actually I ordered Skyrim for my Switch.
Yo, why?
Man, how much was that?
I got it, I think, for like 50.
Oh my
Man, you
god.
could have put your unexistent grandchildren through college with the amount of versions of Skyrim you bought.
Yeah. I am the reason why Bethesda's afloat.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Like you buy Microsoft just so you can own all versions of Skyrim.
So that will do it for my Fallout 2 or New Vegas 2
Nice.
thoughts.
I want to also talk about video games and Matt's meanders mumblings.
Nice.
Video day.
We talked about immersion on the last episode of the podcast. And Will, you were saying how, for you, immersion is putting yourself into the game. So you make a character or you play out your character in the way that you would make choices.
Yeah. I think
which
the
I
word I
feel-
was looking for at the time was agency.
Agency. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like
Um,
on the tip of my tongue, but I couldn't think of it when we were talking about it.
Yeah. Oh, that always happens to me. It's like 5 minutes after we stop recording. I'm like, fuck. Anyways, but when I think of immersion for games, like I think maybe like it started before I started playing D&D, but since I started playing D&D, the way I make characters in RPG games or play characters in RPG games is entirely different now. Whereas I think like when you make your first Skyrim character or you make your first D&D character, you're like putting yourself into the fantasy world, which is fine. But now I feel like, when you get to like your 3rd, 5th, 10th, 100th D&D character, that experience is no longer fun. Like it's no longer exciting to be like, what would I do in fantasy world? Like I've done that before. I've played Skyrim. So for now, it's like, oh, what if I was a woman who was cursed by a dragon and also was blind? Like just so you're getting like a new experience out of it, because then that tailors your like the decisions you make in game. So I'm curious, when you guys make a character in a game, what is your approach, and has that changed over the years? We'll start with you, Luca, I guess.
Honestly, like I'm the dude that plays the same Skyrim character every single playthrough. Like,
And why is that though? Is that comforting, or
I mean, I just fall into those same like choices. Like I get to like it's like when you get into those quests where you have to make a choice, I'm always like I just want to make the choice that I lean to every time.
yeah,
Like I'll choose, like, for example, I chose the Stormcloaks the first playthrough without finding out that they were racist. Like it happens sometimes, but then you get to like if I play a Dark Elf, which I do in Skyrim every time, I can't join the Stormcloaks. Like I can't go to Windhelm and be like, yeah, this is the faction I want to be a part of. So I just end up making, or The Witcher. Like The Witcher is a game that gives you lots of choices that like have moral sort of implications, and I can never play an evil Witcher. I can't kill the intelligent monsters. So maybe I just haven't played like a game. No, I always play myself. That's what I do. That's
well, no, I think even like you say, like you play a Dark Elf and you're morally opposed to joining the Stormcloaks.
true.
Because
Like
if you go to Windhelm, you're like, man, look how they treat my people.
yeah,
Whereas
no,
if you
that
were
is
playing as a
true.
Nord, you might not be
So
like,
inclined.
yeah, but I know I would, just because like me as a person, I'd be like, man, fuck. Like it's funny because like when you first play Skyrim, at least for me, my experience was like, yeah, the Stormcloaks, they just want their land back. And that is something that like I can resonate with based off my real world biases. But then when you see like the way they're going about it and how racist they are and xenophobic they are, you're like, oh, you guys aren't really the good guys. Like it's really like gray area, because like you guys suck as people, but the thing you're trying to achieve isn't inherently evil. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I struggle with that because the Empire sucks too at Skyrim.
True.
So yeah, but you feel like you make choices that like, because I guess there's a difference for me in that you can set out to like do the right thing when you play video games, which I feel like most people are like inclined to do. When there presents a choice, you know, do what you think is probably like the best option. But then there's other people who are like, yeah, I'm going to be evil this playthrough. I'm going to do the bad thing. And so you do like the complete opposite of what you would normally choose. But I feel like role playing is somewhere in the middle where it's just like, I would do what my character would do.
Yeah, see, like
Opposed
I've
to,
never made a character and been like, I'm gonna play this playthrough through the eyes of this character. Actually, like I usually even don't even do like evil playthroughs. The one time I purposely played an evil character was in Fable 3, I think. I don't even have that game. My cousin had it. So I could only play it sometimes. And I just wanted to like make my character like look as evil as possible because
Yeah.
it's like the game that changes your like character's physical appearance based on your moral choices.
Right. Yeah. I think the only time I've intentionally gone out and tried to play evil is in Shadow the Hedgehog, where you can do things that make your character evil or good, and that changes the end of the game. The cinematic. What about you, Will, though? What do you go into it like? Do you start with a character or do you put yourself in the game?
I would say most if there's like a character creation, like as we see in Skyrim or even like Dragon Age and stuff like that. Like if there's something where I can like control and basically try and like put myself onto the screen, then I usually just play as myself. So just all right knight paladin.
All right, night. Don't fucking say that shit.
This is instant crusader mode. Yeah, but like if there like I found with like The Witcher, like I tried to play it as I remember the first time I played it because like I saw myself playing as Geralt, and like I and like one of the things that's like common in like The Witcher, I guess stance on everything is to remain neutral, and like that's how I got like the bad ending the first time is because I was like, well, he's a Witcher, he's supposed to remain neutral, and then so like a lot of times like I would just have Geralt like walk away from something, and then in the end it's just like the worst ending, not just for your character but also just like the world.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it's like super dark, and like I thought that was, and like to me like when I was playing I was like, this is just like how it's supposed to play out. Like I'm because again I thought I was playing as Geralt, mind you, this was like before I read the books as well. But yeah, I'm trying to think. I guess like maybe with some of the Assassin's Creed games as well, like it's not so much as just like character creation, more so just pick, I guess, just like your gender. That's all you have for like, I guess, character creation. And like it is scripted a bit. So I think with those, I usually just kind of just go with the flow.
Yeah.
Like based on, I guess, like what the character would be doing. But most of the time, if there is like some sort of like actual customizable, like Mass Effect or something where I can like, I guess, recreate myself, that's when I usually do it. Then I usually just play as I would, or like how I guess I would idealize myself to do.
Right. Yeah.
Do all the things I could never. Um,
Yeah. Like, yeah. So essentially, like you're making yourself a character in the game and acting as you would act if you were in those circumstances.
Yeah.
I remember, I think like one of the best games, I think, for this type of conversation is Dragon Age Inquisition, because I feel like you have so much agency in that game, but also like the prompts they give you for role play are also very like can really like define your experience. So for instance, like the first time I played that game, I think I was high and I chose what are they called? Kunari. And I was basically like, I was like, okay, what if this was like Beauty and the Beast and I was the Beast? And I like made my guy look like the Beast, and like he had like the voice. I think you only get two choices of voice, but he spoke like very like proper and elegant. I just thought it was hilarious, but like he was also a sick character. But like I played him as though like he was like this like ambassador who was trying to be like a staple of his people type of thing. And for me, that was like one of the first times I didn't play myself in a game. And I think it's because like I clicked the wrong thing. I was meant to choose like a human, and I clicked Canary, and I was like, I couldn't go back without restarting. I was too lazy to do it. But then my second playthrough, I very much tried to make myself in the game. When I had short hair and everything, I made the guy with the buzz cut, and it just wasn't as fun. Like, and so my third playthrough, now I'm playing as like an elf woman, and I'm like, oh, she comes from, what are they called? Valisin elves, the ones with like the face tattoos. And I'm like, I'm very much playing that role. I'm like, yeah, I'm not really into like you city elves or you human people. Like, and so my choices are very influenced by that. So yeah, I don't know. I think like I get more out of the experience when I'm like, what would the character do opposed to like what would I do? Because like I feel like, with playing things like Skyrim, my first two playthroughs, I played as myself both times. Like made a red guard with a buzz cut and fucking went at it. And like all the choices that I made in the game are things that I would have done if I was in that situation. But then now I'm playing as like a stronghold orc who's a sorceress. And I'm like, I come up with like this backstory in my head, and I'm trying to like play out what my character would do in certain situations. And so like I don't choose Stormcloaks or because like I hate Nords because they took my land, but I also don't like the Empire. So I'm just like neutral and I'll kill anyone type of thing.
So you just don't do that storyline?
Yeah, yeah, if they roll up on me, I murk them,
Yeah, actually for a while, what I would do, like this was like around the time it came out, but like for Skyrim there was like a website that I found, and it was like Skyrim role playing, and like it would like there was like a bajillion different classes and stuff like that, and like people would like create like backstories and stuff like that, and then they would just like give you the stats, like what you should have, and like what equipment you should have in order to like play through as this character, and like how they should look and stuff like that. So like I remember I did that like a few times. Like I did like a Sith play through where it was just like lightning in the left hand and like sword in the right hand, usually like the glass sword to make it look like a lightsaber or something. But yeah, but I don't know, Skyrim's pretty dated to do that on, and like it's kind of I don't know, there's not that. I think that's probably just the biggest appeal of Skyrim is being able to do that. But at the same time, like I do also prefer like very well written narratives like Dragon Age or like The Witcher. So now it's kind of like hard, and I think that's the challenge for making those kinds of games is like have like kind of like balancing like player choice, but also like trying to have a good narrative, because like I couldn't imagine what it's like to write like storylines and stuff like that for all these different choices if you have characters and stuff like that, when it just might be easier to write a good story and like taking away that
take away the agency and sort of just this is the story. Like I think both are good, but I think it's more immersive if it's like, well, I don't know actually if that's true. Like I was gonna say it might be more immersive if you have that agency, but when it comes to a good story is a good story, whether or not you're changing the outcome by influencing decisions. But I guess like the thing there is that you have to stay true to who your character is in order for it to feel like the ending is like a rewarding experience. You know what I mean?
yeah
And if they take the choice away from you, then as long as you like who the character is, it's like like in God of War, for example.
Yeah.
Like there's no choices to make. You just experience the story. And if you like the aesthetic of dude with a giant axe, then like you're gonna love the game.
yeah I guess the RPG elements, like the choice you have is like how you upgrade like your combat style and stuff like that. A question about D&D characters, because you've both played D&D. I know, Luca, you are human wizard.
Yes.
That is
the one character I've ever played.
Yeah. And you've played it in two different campaigns, albeit one very short one.
Yes.
Do you feel like that character race class combination is something that speaks to you because of who you are, or is it just what you're familiar with?
I mean both, because in all fantasy games, like I play a wizard if I can.
Okay.
I'm a magic caster in every game: Dragon Age, Skyrim, other games. I can't.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was definitely, as soon as I read the class, I was like, yeah, wizard. And I wanted to play myself, so I was a human.
Yeah. So do you feel though that like Luca is a human wizard? Like if you feel like you were plopped into a fantasy universe, just like taken from this timeline and put in another, that's what you would be?
Um, I mean, in the D&D classes, either maybe sorcerer instead, just based on, how you learn magic in D&D specifically. But yes.
Let's do it as sorcerer hands. What about you, Will? You default to sort of like a paladin or like a knight.
I think this guy be a paladin.
See, I don't know.
Dark
I straight up, I think I would actually like if you were to take who I am right now and drop me into a D&D universe, I think I would actually be a wizard.
I would say the same thing.
Because I like a third of like my entire job is like reading books. Like that's
Nerd.
Big nerd.
Nerd.
and so like I definitely kind of can relate to like that. It's just like reading and then gaining the knowledge from that as much as I hate it and pretend that I am a paladin, but I'm not. I'm just
Yeah,
fucking
I was
nerd.
it's funny you say that because I was gonna say I actually think you guys are this and this and see what you thought about it. And for you, I absolutely feel like you are the wizard because you're very like I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but like you say,
Dork.
like your job entails a lot of reading. And I feel like you would be like your personality traits would lead more towards like researching spells and be like, yo, guys, I found this thing. In
Check out my
Mesopotamian
tomes.
history I was researching. I found this spell. And Luca, I feel like you would be a rogue or like an
Oh,
artificer,
wow.
which is similar because I feel like you're very like intelligent and like not conniving in a bad way, but like resourceful in that like yeah, like maybe you wouldn't be a thief, but you'd be like a specialist, like you'd have a little crossbow arm thing. You know what I mean?
I do.
What would you guys say if you were gonna plop me into a fantasy world? Which D&D class do you think I'd be?
Probably bard or fighter, I think.
I was gonna say bard.
Nice. I win. Fuck, that's awesome. Okay, cool. That'll wrap up Matt's Meanders mumblings. Will, what do you got for us today?
So I kind of had like two topics. One of them was, and like I couldn't really like kind of choose. So the first was going to be like a discussion about like armor, I guess mostly in video games if you want to keep the theme, or we could just talk about side quests as well, just as a mechanic, I guess. And that could be for like other stuff as like outside of video games, like that could also be like role-playing stuff as well. So but we spent a lot of time talking about the video games, so
Yeah,
if you guys want to just keep going with that theme, I guess we could do
let's do
quests.
armor. That's
okay.
side quest. I think is or is it, sorry, is that what you were saying?
Oh, I don't care.
Yeah, well, I think both sometimes they're both in the same thing. You know, you do the side quest for like the what
some
comes to
armor.
mind is like the armor of Romulus from Assassin's Creed Brotherhood.
That's actually what I was like doing. That's what I got the inspiration from, was
That
that
specific set.
yeah, like
That's
no,
sick.
so because I got like the Assassin's Creed thing for my Switch a while ago, and like that was honestly like that's actually what the inspiration was, because I find that those games are so dated now that like doing that is just like crazy, like very, very infuriating. Like there were several times I wanted to like throw the controller like through the wall because like trying to figure out like the platform puzzles and stuff. So that's where I got the idea for the topics that I kind of came up with. So
yeah. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, side quests for armor. Immediately something that comes to mind is like World of Warcraft, and that like you would grind and like keep doing the same dungeon to get this one fucking helmet. And it like doesn't match your fucking armor at all. You know, or like the whole time you're doing it, you're wearing a mismatching set because this is the one piece you're missing.
Yeah, that's like yeah. No, I know what you mean. That's why I like in a lot of games, like the new Assassin's Creed games, you can like change the armor's appearance, like
Yes.
regardless of the ability. I forget what it's called. It's like transmogrify or something.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and it's just you could like if you pick up like let's say armor A, but it's like garbage, but you'll always like keep that what armor A looks
Style.
like, yeah, as an
Yeah.
option to choose later on. So
Yeah.
like it might look cool, but the stats are just like trash.
And do you find that like are you more focused on looking cool?
Yeah, oh yeah, always.
Yes,
too.
always.
Always. Like,
Um,
okay, so on my current playthrough of Skyrim, I enabled some cheats because again, like I'm a wizard, I'm like a sorceress, but I want to look cool. So I'm wearing the skull, and again, I'm an orc, a stronghold orc. So I'm wearing like the skull armor from Solstheim. Like so like the big fur armor, and then I have like the nightingale wrist guards, and like I don't know, she just looks sick. It's like she's got like these like tight wrists with like this very loose fur armor. And so I modified all the stats. Like I put my crafting at like 100 and like used all these cheat codes to make this armor like super fucking deadly because I just want her to look sick. I'm not really concerned about wearing the Arcana robes and like all that shit. Um, but one of the first games that did what you're saying, Will, like where you can keep the armor style, but be wearing something different, DC Universe Online, which to me is still one of like the very like when I think of like MMORPGs, that's the one I've probably spent the most time in. Just because like you could literally play as any character because you're able to customize your character so much, and you can get an armor set at level 1 and wear that armor set to level 30 or whatever it goes to now. And you could be getting new armors all the time, but you keep your character looking as they looked when you first created them, or you're getting all these additional armors that the stats don't match what you want, but you can still keep that same chest plate or whatever the case is. It's one of the fucking coolest things. And you get to change the colors of all the armor too. So it's not just like the armor exists as it is. Like when you get it, it's fully customizable. And for me, that was like no other game at the time was offering that same experience. So it's like I could be Captain America in this DC game, or I could be Goku or Black Panther, whatever the case was. Like it was just really cool to be able to customize it that way. Yeah. What about you, Luca? What are your thoughts on customizable armors and stuff like that?
Um, Obviously I love it because I like to make my character look cool. When you said side quests for armor, like The Witcher is literally there's like an entire section of
oh yeah.
treasure side quests that are only for like Witcher gear from the different like Witcher schools. And if you play like the DLC Hearts of Stone, you can, if you do the right quest line and make the right choices, you can get the full set of Viper School armor too, which is like the coolest armor in the game, in my opinion. It's like the full black set. I don't know, Will, you've probably played that.
Yeah, I got that set actually by accident. Like I didn't realize that there were like conditions that you could like fail and like
Yeah,
miss
so
out
like
on.
you can miss the sword. Like if you don't make specific choices, you won't be able to get the full set. And I don't know if you got the like in the DLC, you can also get the like round sunglasses.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, like the
That's my
like the
favorite look.
like the
The round,
Morpheus goggles.
yeah, the Morpheus glasses with the Viper School set. Um, so yes, I always choose armor for looks rather than stats.
Yeah, so that was the other thing I was thinking of is like what are your thoughts? I guess I guess D&D does it as well, but like how like armor types affect how I guess your character plays out, like how they
That's
move.
actually like those stats is something I've never looked at. Like I've never in Skyrim, I've never upgraded my like heavy and light armor. I did not care. I just put
Oh
on whatever
wow.
looked cool. Like
Okay.
This man just does not care about
if I just
stamina.
keep dying, I lower the difficulty rather than like train up my armor. Like
Who needs to sprint?
Straight up. Yeah, no, like I don't do heavy armor in Skyrim because I'm like I can't run and that pisses me off. So I always go light armor and try to upgrade it as much as possible. And I think like my D&D characters do the same thing. Where like I don't like D&D characters in heavy armor because you get disadvantage on stealth. I think there's some other things. like I think your encumbrance is affected, maybe. I can't remember, but I prefer to have the character that like has a single like breastplate, or like maybe one arm is like a gauntlet type of deal with like a shoulder piece, but then everything else is sort of like light armor, leathers and hides and stuff like that. That's like the aesthetic I'm like drawn to. Because I like the fast fighter opposed to just like big guy with big sword type of thing.
Thick boy.
But have
Like-
you ever
like-
been the big guy with the big sword? Just like you walk up full Daedric set and just like
Yeah.
the first swing is the cutscene decapitation. Like,
Yeah, I've done that with like my first playthrough. I was like heavy armor, sword and shield. But like then playing different styles of the game, I'm like, man, I just like being able to sneak around and run. And I hate the fact that like I couldn't do that on my first playthrough. Like you
Yeah.
take 2 steps in Daedric armor, it's like, who's there? You're like, fuck. My
True.
sneak is 65. What the fuck?
Yeah,
True.
I remember like Oblivion was much more like it would punish you a lot harder with your, I guess, the consequences of your armor choices.
Mhm.
'Cause there was light, medium, and heavy instead of just light and heavy. But they had like for example, if you wore heavy armor, like you were basically like unkillable. But at the same time, like you couldn't really perform magic because it just affected the way that your magic worked. Like just like how much it would cost to use and stuff like that if you're using like heavy gauntlets or something.
Mhm.
But like
Yeah,
I kind of
Skyrim doesn't punish you at all, really. Like I've played Sneaky Archer in full Daedric set. Like
Oh,
it's
man.
not. It's completely possible.
Oh, I just suck at Skyrim.
yeah, you just gotta like crouch in the middle of Whiterun and just leave your console or
Well,
Skyrim
and
game on
that's the thing too, right?
all
That
day long.
that breaks the immersion. Is if you could sneak in Daedric armor, like what the fuck is the
True.
who's there? It must be the wind. Giant fucking demon looking, just around the corner.
Yeah, and like see, like to me, like immersion is like kind of having that realistic stuff. When I think of like armor in games, like especially multiplayer, would be like with like Rainbow Six, because it's all either light, medium, or heavy. But if you're heavy, you're like your character moves very, very slow because they have like the SWAT plates armor on and stuff. So then like the game like punishes you because you can take like an extra hit, but at the same time you're like incredibly slow, and it's almost like you're like a big walking target for other people. And like I think like For Honor did that as well, and like a few other games. um Kingdom Come Deliverance was a big one as well.
Mm.
Which I got it on sale and it was like the worst thing ever because like it's just like peasant simulator.
Yeah.
Because yeah, you like grind like 10 hours and you still like get killed by like some guy hits you with a hammer or something. That's it. But like if you're like lucky enough to find armor, it's just like horrible because it's super heavy, but at the same time, like it gets like dirty and rusty and it just makes your character even worse. Man, fuck that game. I hate that game so much.
Do you guys have a favorite Skyrim set?
Yeah, the blades armor.
Oh, okay.
And if you add the katana mod, I love that combination, like a katana with the blade set, and the blade shield is my favorite shield in the game too.
Yeah.
I think I liked the wolf armor, and I also liked the archmage robes. The archmage robes. It was
Those are
like,
sick too. Yeah.
yeah,
Those are cool.
because like
I-
it's so
Sorry.
out of pocket compared to all the other mage robes.
Yeah.
But-
Yeah. I love dwarven armor. Just because like it's so different from everything else. And
Mhm.
obviously like gold and purple aesthetic is super dope. Obviously Daedric is cool. But I also love the Stalrim armor from the expansion.
The heavy
Shiny-
or the light?
shiny boy.
The light. Yeah.
I like those that have like the light and heavy versions. I think it's only Stalrim and Dragon that has it.
Yes. Yeah. That sounds
Yeah.
right to me. Maybe Ebony too, right? Or
Yeah, I
Ebony.
think I liked Ebony more than Daedric, but like I
Really?
think
Okay.
Daedric weapons looked better, in my opinion. Like the Daedric
Yeah.
sword is just like a big saw blade.
Yeah. The Daedric bow is my favorite bow though, like in the whole game.
Yes. tough to beat, and the daggers too.
Hmm.
I like the dragon boat sword, even though not really armor, but I think it looked coolest. It's just like a dragon tooth, but yeah, I don't know. It was never a big Daedric guy.
Yeah, I think my aesthetic of like what I would want my character, because we've been talking about our personal characters in games a lot this episode. Like I'm very much like Link from The Legend of Zelda, or like Cloud from Final Fantasy aesthetic. Like I don't mind a big sword, but you got to be wearing light clothing so you could have the maneuverability. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I don't know. I feel like that's just my, like I'm not like one of the Warcraft players with like the fucking giant, you know. I can't. That's not really me. But I don't know. Will, that's your aesthetic though, isn't it?
Sometimes, but like a absolute unit, paladin mode. It's like just large armor where like your head is just like tiny.
Yeah.
Like Warhammer 40K kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly.
Yeah, Space
Fucking
Marine.
Stormcast, turtle, fucking
It's
Space
just
Marine looking ass.
yeah, it's just like a thumb poking out of the top of the armor. uh I guess like for like a lot of I don't I think usually I do kind of tend to like balance it though. Like when I'm playing like Skyrim and stuff like that, because like I usually don't wear the full armor sets.
Mhm.
So like I usually just do like heavy, like a chest piece. Like I actually I love the steel armor. Like obviously the sleeveless one, of course, and then I add
Oh wait, you mean like the Iron Bandit armor?
no the because steel has like this, and then it has like just like the chest thing and waist, but then there's also like another steel version where it covers like the shoulders,
Oh,
like
the one
halfway
that
down
Lydia wears.
yeah, that one.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, always sleeveless, and then balance it. And then balance it with like light armor, so like fur.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's usually how I do it. Or just go no armor, no clothes.
One of the cool things about WoW was that you could toggle a setting where like you could be wearing a helmet, but it wouldn't show it. And I wish Skyrim had that, because I just don't wear a helmet because I want to see my character's face when I switch to
Mhm.
3D. And or not 3D, fucking third person.
Third person.
You know what I mean? And I hate wearing a helmet sometimes because it's like, why did I spend
Yeah,
an
I would
hour?
never wear a helmet. The only headgear I'd wear is like the special, like the Daedric helmets. There was a
Mhm.
couple that were kind of cool, and the Dragon Priest masks.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, see, Assassin's Creed games, the new ones have that where you can, but it's not just helmets. You could do it with like anything as well. So you could like, because and like that's what I usually did was I always took the helmet off, um, just because like they added this mechanic where it's cool that they did it because like if you're wearing like a big helmet, like your voice will like echo when you talk. So like it's realistic, it looks cool, but it just looks stupid. Like it's all like cutscenes. Because like it's like, or like your voice will be like muffled or something like that. And then it just looks really like awkward and strange. So I usually go helmetless as well.
Do you have an all-time favorite Assassin's Creed armor?
Uh I would have to say probably the Altair armor from Assassin's Creed 2, like the one that you have to go on the quest for.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Super dated and just like mind-numbingly like infuriating, and like I've never raged as hard as I have like in a long time. When I
Yeah.
tried to like get like when I did like the first tomb, I was like, oh my god, this sucks. Because it's so dated. I'm like it was like groundbreaking, like revolutionary when it came out. Like I remember playing as a kid and I was like, wow, this is insane. Now it's just like this sucks. Like
Yeah.
it just takes forever. But I think it looks the coolest and has like the Renaissance flair to it, which I always thought like that's what I always liked about the early Assassin's Creed games.
That game was, the first game is tough. I don't know if they've remade that, but playing that,
Cool.
like Assassin's Creed 2 was like such like a improvement on Assassin's Creed 1, where like unskippable cutscenes and fucking just dudes talking. It's awful.
Yeah, and it's like the camera placement. It wasn't even like really a cutscene. It was just like a shit camera placement. Like it would like drop down third person down low.
Yeah.
And then it just like, yeah, it was never like actual.
You got to hear this voice actor going for the fucking the Game Award speech of the year.
And then if you die, you have to repeat it and like watch the entire cutscene
Oh
again.
my god, yeah. Fucking hell. And then you stab him, and then it goes into like the fucking Animus projection. Rest in peace, fucking, you know?
Yeah, but then there's always like characters around you, so you just get murked as soon as you come out of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Like because your character is just like T-posing when it comes out of the like the RIP screen, and then you have to like restart it. Yeah. It came so far.
Okay, last question from me. If you could choose one armor set from any game to have in real life, which one would you choose? And you get all of its in-game functionalities.
It's probably the armor from Halo. It's got a shield.
Just Master Chief's fucking armor.
Just hanging. But you get the shield with it, man. It increases your strength.
That's a very good point.
So you could just like, you don't even need doors. You could just walk right through them. Yeah, I don't know. Somebody tries to throw a rock at you or something. You can just bounce off the shield. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's probably it.
What about you, Luca?
I mean, when you said just any armor, I was like, yeah, the Viper set from The Witcher. But since you said with its abilities, I want something from Skyrim that's enchanted with something useful. I'd be like, I even want something that's like easy, like a super light armor that's like enchanted with, I don't know, for like a healing, a regain health enchantment,
like
or
generics.
stamina, regenerate stamina.
Oh, that's
like when you enchant the ragged robes. This man's just like wearing pajamas.
Always wearing them like double enchant.
But yeah, that guy could run like for a long time, but he stinks.
Magic
Those are
armor is
fucking funky,
nigh
man.
impossible to penetrate. But
Yeah. If
it's
you
just like
wash this armor set, it loses the enchantment.
this guy's just running around wearing the muscle shirts, pretty much. And that's it.
But yo, you can't compete in the marathon in those clothes. I have to. You don't understand. I would probably choose some variation of the Zora armor from The Legend of Zelda so that I could breathe underwater. Well, no, wait, that's dumb. I could just wear a scuba suit. I said what I said. It's too late. Maybe if it was just like the blue tunic, because then that's pretty like easy to put on. But I was specifically thinking of like the Twilight Princess armor, which is like a full fucking armor set, and that's worse than a scuba suit. So I'm an idiot. Yeah.
maybe a set of 40k armor. You could go
Yeah,
full-
so you
just-
could go to Comic-Con and take
just a
pictures.
thumb just poking out.
Just a little tiny ass head. All right. Well, yeah, I think that'll do it for us here today. Will, we won't see you for a while, or sporadically at least.
Yeah.
So if people are wondering where Will's at in the coming episodes. We got some scheduling
Where's
conflict. I don't
Will's
know.
section?
Yeah.
The
So
tracker.
we'll miss you here, but obviously you're always welcome back on the show. And thank you for being a part of this.
You'll definitely be returning for Dune.
Yes,
Yes,
yeah,
we
yeah.
have to do it at this point.
Yeah, it's been 3 months.
Yeah.
We've been teasing the dude rumination for 3 months now, so we gotta fucking do it.
And I mean, if there's ever, I guess I would have to do a reading for my Skyrim fan fiction if that ever
Yes,
comes
yeah.
to fruition. Get your
As soon as
subs
we
up.
hit 1,000 subs, you gotta come back on and read your Skyrim fanfic.
Just
Make
like a
it
solo
happen,
play.
everybody. Make sure you're liking and subscribing to the channel. Give us a thumbs up on whatever platform you're listening to, so we can get Will back on the show to do Skyrim fanfic read.
It'll
As
be like
always, I'm
slam
Matt.
poetry.
I'm Luca.
Slam poetry Skyrim.
I'm Will.
We are the Lords of Lore.